And we're back to learning Photoshop, day 8. Let me show you how you can change colors of objects. I've already done that in earlier tutorials, but I've never explained it in detail. So let us go over it, because it's a common beginner question. I'll create a rectangle here, use the rectangle tool, left click drag. And the colors that it has are just the colors stored from the last time that I've created a rectangle. So there's a white fill and a black stroke, and you can see that as long as the rectangle tool is active at the top right here. And you can left click on these swatches and then change these colors by using the recently used colors. There are always swatches for that given. For all of these elements, you can also change the colors and appearance in the properties menu. And if you can't see the properties menu, go to window and then click on properties. In my case, it's checked because I can see it. And here you can see the recently used colors again indicated by these swatches. And if you left click on them, you can change fill and stroke. Be aware that you have to have the layer active for this specific element so that you can see its properties. So if I switch to layer 0, rectangle is not part of this layer. Therefore the appearance has vanished and I can't change it anymore. But if I left click on rectangle 1, the appearance is back. So the properties are only the properties for the specific selected element on the layer. What you can also see are these two color swatches here. And these are for foreground and background color. You can double click on it and then change the color via picker. Let me change the foreground color, which is black, to red. I confirm via OK. And now if I drag a rectangle, it still has this greenish and then turquoise color for fill and stroke. And this is because Photoshop by default stores the last style, you could say, of this element. And the last style was green and blue, and it had nothing to do with red. So don't get that mixed up. Foreground and background color are, for example, for gradients. And when we use brushes or the bucket tool, I'm going to talk about these tools later. For us, it's always the properties menu right here. Left click on the swatches and then you can change it. When you do, we also have a color picker right here. And here you can actually change the fill. So I've clicked on the fill swatch and the picker, and here drag it around. You have a scale and this big little swatch. If you want to change that numerically, you can add the hex code here. You can use HSL, use saturation lightness. You can use the brightness. You can use the RGB, red, green, blue. And also CMYK, which is more for printing. So if you want to adjust that numerically, that's also possible. And then we have only web colors, which changes the appearance a little bit. I usually don't use that, but it works the same way as this regular picker. Always confirm via OK, and the color will be given, in our case, to the fill of our rectangle 2. I'll switch to rectangle 1, click on the fill swatch. You see all of these folders, and these are presets, these are inbuilt swatches or color combinations in Photoshop. And usually the colors in these folders, they work well together. You can just open them by left clicking on the drop down icon here and then cycle through these colors. Here is a gear icon, and that's for the settings. You can change the appearance of these swatches, and you can also import swatches and add new swatch presets. It's a little bit more like an intermediate thing, so I don't want to confuse it too much with it. Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit later on when we're more advanced at using Photoshop. Let us get back to the picker, and here you can also add swatches and you can open the color libraries. This looks a little bit different now. You have a drop down for different color combinations, but this is also an inbuilt set where the colors usually work well together. And you can confirm that just with the picker. It will be given as a fill to our element. I like to use the picker though, so make sure to reset that by clicking on picker. Just in case you may be wondering what these 4 icons mean. The first one is for no color, in our case on the fill, therefore no fill. So if I left click it, the white background will be blended through. Second option is for the swatches. Third is for gradients. We're going to talk about that in a later video. And the fourth is for patterns. So you can also add patterns as fills and strokes. We want to stick to swatches for now. Finally, we have a colors menu right here, but this only adjusts the foreground and background color that I was talking about a little bit earlier, so this doesn't change the immediate appearance of your elements. For that, as I've mentioned, we need the properties menu. For some of the elements that you've got, you can also activate the tool. So you've seen that for rectangle. We could also change the colors on top when we had the rectangle tool active, and same goes for text. If I create text, it will store the last fill And if I change the foreground color, this won't change anything on the text. It stores the last style, as I've mentioned earlier. So we'll have to refer to our properties menu to change these colors. Second option that we've got is to use the top menu. Just like with the rectangle layers, we switch to a rectangle layer, activate the rectangle tool. Here are fill and stroke. Same goes for the text. We activate the text tool, switch to a text layer, and here at the top we find the fill again. Make sure to get yourself familiar with it, because this is something that we're going to use over and over in our tutorials. I hope this video was helpful. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.